Oh, Stan Lee.
Oh, right?
That killed me.
I know, me too.
The moment I heard, I literally spent the rest of the day watching YouTube videos of remembrances. Like,
it just made me be like, all right, now I need to see X-Men. Like, for sure, I need to see X-Men. I was gonna see it, but like, now I have to.
His first appearance in a comic book related title was during the Hulk series back when our parents were growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played a juror when Bruce was on the stand, and he hulked out on the stand.
That's cool. I never saw the original Incredible Hulk, but that's interesting.
I saw a couple episodes, made me laugh.
We have like the second season of it, but I never really got into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I actually shared a video on my Facebook of like all of his cameo appearances in the movies, the Marvel movies. And it started with like even the Big Hero 6 one was on there. So, and then I love the one in like the Avengers. I can't think it's one of the Avengers where he's like, "Are you Tony Stank?"
Yeah.
And he has a package for him. And he says that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love it.
And then Falcon's like, yes, this is Tony Stank. Wait, no, that wasn't Falcon. That was the Silver Iron dude. The Arsenal? No, Arsenal is
I don't remember
Speedy.
his name.
And Arsenal is DC. What the fracking hell? His military friend that wears the silver
Rhodey.
Iron Man suit. Yeah. Yeah, but his hero name.
Oh.
Because Falcon is the young black dude, not the old black dude. Falcon is the one that hangs out
There's
with Captain
so many
America.
characters. I mean, so many to keep track of.
Falcon's the one that hangs out with Captain
Yeah, I
America.
know which one Falcon is.
And,
But there's so many damn characters.
right.
Like, I can't. I can, but I can't.
Right. But the whole thing that just,
Where the heck?
when you think about it, without Stan Lee, we wouldn't have comics and heroes like we do today.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the ones that he takes and makes flawed and still gives them a purpose and still gives them, makes them heroes. Like, because he did it differently than with, like, DC and stuff, to where...
Yeah, but DC also took a lot of his ideas and turned them a little bit and created their own based off what he did.
Yeah.
So even a lot of the DC characters we have today, we would not have...
Without
him. And, like... So without him, we wouldn't have... I know I'm probably over-exaggerating, but I would say about 90% of what we have today, we would not have. And, I mean, I'm including the television stuff, too. Because
It just says Rhodey. It doesn't say his, like...
Oh. That's weird.
But anyway, yeah, his friend Rhodey was the one who said that.
The moment he became, like, the face of Marvel, and he started walking Hollywood. He started, like, pounding the pavement for, like, cartoons and live action and all this. And without that, we wouldn't have the cinematics that we have today. We wouldn't have the cartoons that we have today.
Right. And I mean, regardless of how you feel about Iron Man, the first movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was Iron Man. And Robert Downey Jr. basically owes that part of his career and character to Stan Lee.
Yes.
Because Stan Lee kind of specifically wanted him for the role of Tony Stark. So it all started with that.
Yeah.
And, like, he posted a picture earlier today, and he's like, you were the one who started that, or whatever.
Right.
like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here for that.
Right.
So.
Like, it took me a minute to realize the impact that he had on me, because I sat there thinking about what I grew up on, what got me interested in superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I just came up with, like, I was like, oh,
was he
yeah.
in the original? Did he make cameos in the original Tobey Maguire ones too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every single one.
Cause see,
there's not one that he's missed.
Those were the, like, even though most people have, you know, their opinions about them, those were the first movies that I saw that kind of got me liking that. Like, by seeing those, that's what made me like Spider-Man.
Mm.
Because before that, I wasn't really into all of the superhero stuff. Like, I knew about Superman, like, I knew about Batman, but I didn't really, like, see any of the movies or anything until a little later.
Mm-hmm.
And then once, like, Iron Man came out and stuff, I didn't see the first one in theaters, but I saw the second and then third and then all the other movies after that were Marvel pretty much in theaters.
Right.
And so it kind of, Iron Man kind of pushed that more because my dad was into it, and so then I watched them because of that and everything. But yeah, I would have to say probably with the Spider-Man movies. So.
The first thing that popped in my head when I thought, what was my first introduction, was Spider-Man, the 90s cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And when you had Peter Parker working as the photographer for the Daily
Planet.
No, Prophet, I think.
I don't know. I'm thinking Superman.
Yeah, I think it was Daily Prophet. I don't know. It was something like that. And, like, he created his own web shooters, because him having that ability is not how things... That's not the character.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have the ability to just go, and then whatever.
Yeah.
He does that to activate the little thing
right
here to shoot the webbing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mechanism. He has to push it. Mm-hmm. That's why he does that.
Mm-hmm.
And... like, I was like, I think the first time I ever saw something was Spider-Man. But no. I saw the the Wonder Twins, which, I mean, that's not the show. Those are the characters on the show. I think it was the Justice Society.
Mm-hmm.
And that's DC,
mm-hmm.
but, like, I was watching that simultaneously with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with Firestar and Iceman, which, like, I loved all of it. And to think that the X-Men cartoon from the 90s wouldn't exist without him, because the X-Men wouldn't exist without him. Like, I can't even. Like,
yeah. Because, I mean, X-Men is your favorite.
The X-Men cartoon is my favorite thing of, like...
But, I mean, even the movies are your favorite.
That was because they were the best they were the best superhero
live adaptions from the
They
cartoon.
were the best adaptions of anything. I mean, like...
Well, see, the first time I saw him then would have been in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, even if I didn't know it was him. Like, because I didn't know about Stan Lee until later. So, for me, it's a little bit different. I mean, it still sucks and it still hurts because, you know, we wouldn't have all of this without him.
Yeah.
And he was a real life superhero.
Yes.
And a legend. But, like, it's just different for me because I didn't really get into the whole superhero, like, fandom until, like, or probably around Iron Man. So, like, late high school into college and everything was when I really started getting into it.
Yeah. And, like, I didn't... The first thing I ever wrote was actually a little mini episode for a superhero cartoon. And... which was Teen Titans. Yes.
Nice. But that's not Marvel.
No. But if you think about it, what almost you can even you can look at DC and see all their superheroes, but you look at Marvel and they're the first ones that did it.
Right.
Like without Marvel, without the Stan Lee's Marvel, we would not have the DC we have today.
No, we wouldn't.
Like, so without him stepping in and doing what he did, comics would have died. Period. And there wouldn't be any more, like, it would not be as prolific as it is today. And so I wouldn't have started my writing journey. Like, I wouldn't have found something that I felt okay with doing a little scribbling on, because I had nothing to connect to.
Yeah.
Like, without him, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have this fandom that I'm wholeheartedly obsessed with, and that when I finally have an actual job that does whatever, I'll start buying comics and start reading more and finding out more about my favorite superheroes. But until then, I binge everything I can.
Yeah.
Every chance I get to. Because the worlds are so rich, and it's all stemming from one kid who went to some place and was like, hey, I don't know what you do here, but I would, if you guys need an assistant, I'm free.
Yeah.
Like, just that one act turned him into the best storyteller in history.
Yeah.
Just period. I don't care about the ancient old dudes who wrote these awesome books.
Well, I mean, that
here.
happens with, like, you know, a lot of people. They start from this, like, place and they just have an idea and they have a plan and they just stick with it and they're determined and they end up making a big thing up from it. Like, even Walt Disney. And I'm not trying to compare him to Walt Disney, but I mean, Disney is pretty much almost as big as Marvel. And it all started with an idea for him, too. Like, he came from, like, a middle-class family in, like, a Midwest America, and, like, he started off really low down, too, and he ended up, like, you know, just doing animation and doing all these drawings, and it started out as, like, a newspaper, and he had a column with that, and then he, like, took it farther and ended up, like, actually starting to do drawings and making cartoons and things like that, and then he came up with Mickey Mouse, and so, you know, it's things like that. I mean,
Willie was the original Mickey. Right. Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie. It's actually the 90th birthday of Mickey because it's like Steamboat Willie, the cartoon, like, debuted in November of, like, 1928. So they did a Mickey's, like, 90th birthday spectacular last week. And it was, like, all commemorating that. But anyway, like, it just made me think of that because, you know, that started this kind of in a similar way. And it became, like, as big as it is today, you know, and now Disney owns Marvel, and they own, you know, all these other things, too, so it's like, you know, it just became what it became.
Yeah. See,
and it was just because of one man.
Right.
Who had a dream, and he had an idea, and he had, you know, an imagination, and he wanted to tell stories with it, and that's what he did.
Yeah. Like, to think that Stan Lee grew up during the Great Depression, and
because he was, what, like 18 in 1939?
Yeah.
Because that's when, like, when I was reading the articles and stuff, it was saying that, like, that's when it started was like 1939 when he started writing for them and everything. And I think he was around like 18 or something.
Yeah. Like, that he lived through the Depression, and that's where he got his work ethic and why he didn't stop working a day in his life.
Right.
Like, that he was just like, I'll be anyone's assistant. Like, just give me an assistant job, I'll run and get you coffee type thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. And then, Dave and Steve were just like, hey, look, yes, you can be our assistant, like, you know, like, make copies of this or whatever. And then they got stuck writing one of their comics.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, something doesn't sound right, it doesn't feel right. Here, Stan, read it.
Yeah.
You fix it.
Right.
And that was his first time doing anything with comics.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really care about comics.
Yeah.
It was just something that was cool. And, like, just something that he ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the comics were dying, and he's like, if this is gonna happen, then I'm gonna write a story I'm gonna be proud of.
Yeah.
And he started writing heroes with actual problems living in the real world.
Right.
And that's just when everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because people could see themselves as the hero or aspects of the hero.
Right.
Because they dealt with problems.
And I mean, the DC ones do that too, but like you said, they took those things from Marvel. But yeah, like, Marvel does have a lot richer worlds and more characters and better stories in a lot of ways, and things like that. I like both. I don't really have a preference.
Yeah.
But, he was a very special person.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I like both.
I mean, we wouldn't be doing reviews for the shows if we didn't like DC.
Yes.
So
I like
we
both,
DC.
but because more of the cartoons that I watched growing up were DC, I do kind of lean more towards the DC aspect of things.
Right.
But that's because as I was growing up, there wasn't much Marvel out there. All that was out there was Spider-Man and
the Hulk. And
yeah, and all I watched, I didn't watch any of that though. I watched Spider-Man, and that was really it.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, Spider-Man, like, I mean, honestly, I can say that my first favorite Marvel superhero was Spider-Man.
well, I mean, I watched the X-Men too.
So, because those were the first Marvel movies that I saw, were the Spider-Man movies. So, Spider-Man was my first favorite Marvel superhero. And he probably always will be one of my favorites, just because I like Spider-Man a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, since I've liked more, but he'll always be special, because that was, like, those were the first movies that I saw that were Marvel related.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of started out on the same guy.
Yeah. We did.
Our love started with Peter Parker.
And there's been so many different people that have played Peter Parker.
And voiced Peter Parker.
Yeah. Like, even the guy who was Friedrich in The Sound of Music, Nicholas Hammond, was in the Spider-Man that was on in, like, the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
He was in that. And he played Spider-Man.
Nice.
I didn't watch it, but, like, I know about it because when he was at one of the shows, my dad met him, but he wanted to get, like, an autograph from the Spider-Man thing instead of Sound of Music. And so, like, he had been in that Spider-Man that my dad watched when he was young. So.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'll admit, when I was watching the Tobey Maguire ones, I liked him because I thought he was cute. But they aren't the best ones by any means. I mean, Tom Holland is doing a great job as Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Homecoming was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Far From Home looks to be amazing.
but I mean, even if, like, they weren't that great, they still, like, have a special place in my heart because they were the first ones that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the third one's not that great.
It's
but
worse than not
it was
great.
really bad. But I liked the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the first two. The first two were good in my opinion. The third one wasn't that great at all. But I think the first one came out when I was like, what, 9? No, I was like 11 when it came out. Because I think it came out in like 2002. So I was 11 when the first
11.
movie came out. And so, yeah, I mean, those were like my first exposure to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Iron Man came out, and then all the other Marvel movies were coming out, like I was watching them all and going with my dad to see them in the theater and everything like that. So I just kind of got more into it that way. And then because I started watching, the DC shows and everything too, I mean, that just kind of fueled it more. So I don't really have necessarily a particular, like, story. I just kind of got into them. Like, I saw the movies, and I was just like, oh, this is cool. I like Spider-Man. I'm going to see more. Like, it was just kind of a gradual thing. It wasn't like, oh, he inspired me to do this, or he inspired me to do that. Like, yes, he's special, and yes, he's a legend, and he will definitely be missed, and he was super revolutionary in everything that he did. But for me, it's just different. Like, I don't have, like, a special story of, like, oh, he inspired me in this way.
Right.
But it still sucks, you know.
Yeah, like, I mean, now it's something that you and your dad do together.
Yeah.
You go see the movies.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've gone to see different ones with other people.
Well, yeah.
With friends and stuff. But the majority of them I've seen with my dad.
Yeah.
So
it's more time with your dad.
Yeah.
Like,
because, like, I remember going to see Iron Man 2 in theaters with my dad and seeing, like, Black Widow first come out and be, like, super friggin' awesome and kick ass. And that fighting scene in the hallway where she just, like, knocked all those guys down. I was like, go, girl! So, like, yeah, I totally remember that. And, like, just all the stuff after that and the Avengers and then, Guardians and, Captain America and everything. Like, so...
Yeah, I think my first Marvel movie was X-Men.
Because that came out in, like, 2000, right?
Yeah, something like that.
That came out before the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Way before.
Like, 2 years before.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look, because
Like,
I think that came out.
That movie I clung to so hard.
Because, see, that's what he posted.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I owe it all to you, rest in peace.
Right. I clung to the X-Men so hard because I loved the animated one, and then I got to see them in real life, and I was like, oh my gosh. My favorite character was Rogue.
Yeah, the first one did come out in 2002 for Spider-Man.
Yeah, my favorite character in the animated shows was Rogue, and I identified with her so much.
Yeah, the first X-Men was 2000, so it was 2 years before that.
So we were 9.
Yeah.
So, when I saw what they did with Rogue in the live action, I was very much disappointed. But
Oh, Halle Berry's in it?
I just loved it. Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine plays Mystique.
Yeah, Halle Berry is Storm.
Oro.
What? Aurora Monroe.
Yeah.
They spelled it.
And then Patrick Stewart.
Yes. But just, I got to see them in real life, but it was just so amazing because I loved the story of Jean Grey and Dark Phoenix, and I knew that if they continued making these movies, they'd make it, and it would be so awesome, and it wasn't. But still, like, as a kid watching that first movie, all the possibilities I saw in my head, and it was all because it started with him. Like, I don't know, really, I wouldn't have the major I have today if he didn't, do that. I wouldn't be majoring in English. I would hate English.
Right.
I do hate English, but writing
the only
is
aspect
a
I like
passion.
about English is like reading, like the literature side of English. And the writing. I like some of the writing aspect of it, but I've never liked writing papers. If it's just writing and you get to be creative with it and write like what you want to write, then it's different. But if you have a structure and you have to write a certain way, then no, it's boring to me. I don't like it. But I enjoy the literature. I enjoy reading things and stuff like that. But I wouldn't make my major English, no.
Yeah, no, like the creative writing aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, when I took my writing class last semester and we did creative nonfiction and I wrote that thing that I wrote, like I was so proud of that because like I never felt like I was really that good at writing and really like did that good of a job when it came to it. But like getting to do that and just be personal with it and like be creative and use it and talk about me, like it was really cool because, I got to incorporate all the things that I liked into it.
Right.
So.
Like, without him, so many of the people that we look up to today wouldn't be who they are. Like, he's touched so many aspects of our lives that without him being him, the world today would look vastly different.
Yeah.
People became actors because of him. People became authors because of him.
Yeah, he gave people a chance at playing a character because of him.
Yeah. But like people became writers, like people became artists because of what he did.
Yeah.
So
it's like in Star Trek when the doctors in Star Trek inspire somebody to go into engineering or go into being a doctor or going into science because of that character. Like, it inspired them.
Right.
Because they were a female doctor or they were a female captain and it inspired them to go into the science field or it inspired them to do something that they might not normally have done because of their gender or because of some other reason. And, it's things like that. I mean, characters and stories have the power to change your life and influence you in ways that you never thought they could.
Yes.
And it all is because of a person who starts all of that.
Yes.
So
like his one quote in one of the Spider-Man movies that you like so much.
I don't
it
love
really
them.
does take one man to change the world.
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes. His words.
I don't love them. They're okay. I like them.
Yes. I have a severe hate-love relationship with them.
I mean, I think we can all agree the third one was horrible.
Yes.
But the first two were decent.
The Doc Ock storyline was bull.
In the second one?
Yeah. I hated Doc Ock. I love the character, especially in the animated shows and whatever, but I did not like
that. The first one is the best one of the three.
Yes, it is. They definitely kept true to the first is the best, the second is okay, and then the third one sucks. They created that trend, and it stayed true for quite a while.
Although, for me with trilogies, I tend to like the first and the last,
third.
not the second.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but they created that trend in the superhero stuff where it progressively gets worse.
Yeah, like the first Iron Man's really good. The second one is good. The third one's First Avengers is good.
The second
was good. That one was Age of Ultron, right? Yeah.
And the third one was holy crap!
Yeah.
And the fourth one's gonna be even more holy crap!
And bittersweet because it'll be his last cameo.
Yeah.
But
he has filmed cameos for the next 3 movies.
Oh.
He has cameos in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, yeah, because that's already done filming, too, right?
And Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
And the last Avengers. So.
And I think the other two come out before Avengers does.
I think so.
I know Captain Marvel does. I don't know about Spider-Man.
I think February, maybe?
Okay.
That's around the same time they did last year.
Because Avengers is going to be May again. I think. April or May.
Because I think the Homecoming came out in February.
Did it?
It came out really early in the year. Didn't it?
I didn't think it was February.
I thought it was. I don't know.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
My brain's playing tricks on me.
The next superhero movie we have this year is Aquaman.
Yes.
And that's DC, so.
Yes.
But Jason Momoa.
I mean, I fell for the dude when he was playing Drogo in Game of Thrones. And
He was in Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Did you know that he's married to Denise from The Cosby Show in real life? Lisa Bonet. Yeah, they're married. They've been married for like 10 years.
I don't care. I'll marry him.
She was married to Lenny Kravitz before she was married to Jason Momoa. Now she's with Jason Momoa, and they've been married since 2007.
9!
He's a lot of people's. He's even my friends. Like, my friends, like, if I was, you know, into guys, I would be with him. Also, Tom Hiddleston. He thinks Tom Hiddleston is very sexy, too.
Well, he ain't wrong. There's a lot of Marvel actors that ain't wrong.
Well, see, for me, like, I was never, like, I mean, Chris Evans is attractive, but I wasn't, like, into him.
No.
Like, he doesn't appeal to me as much as some of the others do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
Hemsworth.
RDJ, yes. Hemsworth, yeah. I mean, even Chris Pratt, like, you know. And Paul Rudd and Ant-Man, like, but I liked him on Friends, so I mean, you know.
Right. But, yeah, so much is amazing because of him, and because of the impact he's had on society as a whole across the world. There's going to be so many generations. I think that his impact on the planet as a whole will never go away.
Yeah.
His legacy will remain forever.
Oh, yeah.
And it will never die.
I mean, as long as there's still a Marvel, it'll never die.
As long as there's still a human being.
Human race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who he was and what he accomplished will always be at the forefront of all geekdom. So, I guess that's what we gotta say on him.
Rest in peace, Excelsior,
yes.
which is the line you always said.
And do you know why?
No.
Because every time he created a tagline for the ending of a comic, DC would take it, or some of the other people would take it, some of the smaller companies. So he decided he'd come up with a tagline that no one could take because no one knew how his version would be spelled. So, yes.
That's cool.
Excelsior.
Excelsior.
So, yeah. Until next time, Excelsior, my friend.
Bye.